Good morning, listeners, and welcome back to the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ron Couming of both RCS Technology Solutions and RCS Online Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs, much like yourself, achieve even greater success using various Internet marketing techniques and methods. And we do that with some proving methods that we have with plenty of success stories. But anyhow, I want to tell you about this radio show. It's called Internet Marketing and Business Solutions with Ronald Couming. And we basically have two different formats. One format is I will have two subject matter experts come on as guests, and they will talk about their entrepreneur journey, how they started, their mission, their why, some of the trials and tribulations that they went through, so you can both know that you're not alone in your trials and tribulations as an entrepreneur. And then also, if you find yourself in one of the scenarios that they mention, you'll be able to get yourself out of it, or at least have some ideas on how to minimize the damage. And also, whatever they do as individuals, you might be able to avail yourself of by utilizing their services to grow your business and reach the people that can need you the most. And then the other part of it is, if that's the case, if I have two, then I'll do usually like a little 10-minute segment on some type of tip or technique or method that you can use to achieve even greater success. So in the first half today, we're going to have a guest, Jenn Shull, and I'll give you her bio in a second. And on the second half, I'm going to talk to you about organic SEO and how you may feel like it is disappearing, but it's just, some of it is just changing. There's AI and there's a whole bunch of other things coming in, and I'll go into detail on that. So that will be in our second half. So our first half will be an interview with Jenn Shull, and so now I'm going to give you her interview, but stick around for the second half after the commercial break, and I'll talk to you all about your search engine optimization. And remember, 89 cents of every dollar online is spent through the search engines. Every social media platform combined accounts for 11% of every dollar that's spent online. Every lotion, potion, course, everything that's bought through social media accounts as 11%. So you really need to focus on the search engines. So our first guest today is Jenn Shull, and she is an ontology-trained life and leadership coach and certified yoga teacher who combines coaching and neuroscience to support her clients in creating breakthroughs in their business and lives. Jenn created her business, The Bold Thing, to help people bring their vision to life in a sustainable way. The Bold Thing is a conversation to have. It is a conversation to have, an action to take, a way of life, entrepreneurship, and creating breakthrough results. And Jenn, how are you today?
Hi, Ron. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Excellent, excellent. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Charlotte, North Carolina this morning, which is where I'm living right now.
Nice, down yonder.
Yes, yes.
Good stuff.
It's finally fall.
Yeah, well, finally fall up here. It's like 37 degrees out. So I think, most people, or at least I as one, would prefer it stayed, spring or summer, just a little bit longer.
Oh, I'm sure. You guys get pretty cold up there.
Yeah, and so quick. I mean, it's not even Thanksgiving yet, and we're in the 30s, man. It's crazy. I butchered one word here, and I know that. It's ontology.
Yeah, you know what? Most people don't even know what the word is, which is kind of a fun conversation starter. But the word that you had butchered was ontologically trained.
Ontologically changed. All right.
And I've actually done videos like, you're an what coach?
Nice. So thank you. So I'm not alone. I thought maybe it was some of my Boston schooling that led to the inability to pronounce that word.
No.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit about that, and tell us more about you. That was, a pretty the bio is okay, but it certainly doesn't. I've met you in person. I've talked to you, and I want to let the visitors know that every guest that comes on here, I have vetted personally. There are engineers in the studio who help with the post clip, creating the clip. But as far as choosing the guests who come on, that's a personal task that I take. So every guest I've either met or talked to, and no one gets paid to come on this show. No one pays to come on this show. So this is just a pure gift of everybody, myself included, because I don't get paid to be on the show. So this is just a pure gift of everybody to give back. So, Jenn, I've talked to you. I know you're a rock star, and I know you have so much to offer. So I kind of want to turn it over to you and let you tell the audience who you are and what you do, and then we can just go back and forth from there.
That sounds great. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be on your show. It's truly a gift to get to share and connect with an audience I would never have access to. And, even if I can't see them, I know you're all out there. But I'll just start with the word ontologically trained, since we've probably piqued most people's interest, like what the heck does that even mean? So the foundation of the coaching and leadership training that I chose to go through, while we were trained in a lot of, different types of coaching and approaches, the foundation of everything we did was run through an ontological model. And what that simply means is, we're not just looking at the pieces of working with a person like most people know about coaching. Like what are you going to create by when? What's in the way of creating it? What kind of accountability do you need? What are you going to be responsible for out of the session? I think most of us have that idea of what a coach is. And that stuff is great. But in our experience and through this model, our stand is a little bit different, where it's that, what we do matters. Of course it does. We need to be in action. But we largely, especially in a very busy culture like ours, we oftentimes forget or don't actually realize how we're showing up. Who are we being when we do all the things that we do? And a lot of it's actually pretty hidden in the subconscious and unconscious, because a lot of the ways of being that we show up as got created when our brains were, a lot younger, like 0 to 8. And so we have all these ways of showing up or not showing up that impact all the things that we do. So it's kind of a fancy way to talk about, like, who are you being when you do what you do?
Nice. And authenticity is so, so important. An associate of mine, and I like to use her phrases, Cammie Baker, she talks about, this particular phrase I like to use, and she talks about being real, raw, and relatable. So when people are on Facebook Live, they're in person, they're talking over the phone, speaking from the stage, whatever the case may be, it's so important that you connect with people on a fundamental level, because, people are just tired of being sold to, right? So, they gotta feel you. Am I correct in that?
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you're saying that. They do. And, I think it's becoming, even a little challenging at this point to know what does it even mean to be authentic. Because for many of us, including myself, I not only coach, but I have a coach. I wouldn't dream of doing transformational work unless I'm doing my own. But, we hear the word authentic, and it means something very different to each of us. And for many of us, who we are at our core authentically, we're actually very afraid to let that person out, because that person has been made wrong or been told they're not good enough. So it's also, figuring out what does authenticity mean to you, and to speak to your point that people can feel it, yes. And, this is where I bring in the neuroscience of there's a neurochemistry to every conversation that we have. And our ways of being can make a person feel more trusting with us, more safe with us, more comfortable, or it cannot. And oftentimes, neither of us know what's actually happening in the conversation, But the other person might just be like, you know what, I'm not going to buy from you. Not today. You're a great person. Thanks for talking, but not today. You know, and they're just not feeling it. And oftentimes that's what happens if we're showing up in a way that's just not landing with the person.
Yep, and I agree with you. And the authenticity is definitely different, different mindset on what it means to be authentic to people. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about what you believe authentic is and how people can actually shift their mindset. But also, in terms of trying to connect with people, that there's different languages that people speak and how they, you've heard about maybe the 5 love languages. But there's also that same type of code where people, when it comes to selling and buying and making decisions. And so, once you can get to that point where you're authentic, you're also breaking down the barriers with the other person. So they're going to be more able to tell you what they really are looking for. So when you're talking to them and you want to provide them whatever your solutions or results are, you can now connect with them because you understand better what they're looking for. But people have to, once you set the stage of being authentic and you set the stage of being real, it allows that other person to come in and be real as well. And it helps you help them. Am I correct in any and all that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, part of the beauty when we really get to discover who we are in our authenticity is it's no longer about all that mental chatter like, am I enough for this client? Am I showing up okay? Oftentimes until we've discovered that, we're not really even fully present in the conversation because it's all about people pleasing or looking good or saying the right thing. And when it's about that, it's not actually about the future client or the client. It's about us. And we can't be present and there is no space for the other person to open up. And you had asked for an example of that. And I think my favorite example that I always use so people can kind of get an image of that for themselves is, when I went through my coaching and leadership training and I was leading teams and I was getting on-the-spot feedback of leading, I got a lot of feedback that I wasn't being authentic. And it was because I was trying to lead like other people I looked up to, or I thought there was a right way to be a leader or a right way to make an impact. And basically, I'm Ron, you've met me. I'm a pretty fun, outgoing person. I've got like green in my hair. I'm pretty lively. And so my team was like, Jenn, we just have to tell you, we love you and you're kind of a weirdo. And when you don't let your weirdness out, it's just not authentic. So I had to do a lot of work to be like, whoa, like how do I go into corporate and stuff like that and let that part of me out so people can connect with me but not be too much and like be taken seriously. So I spent quite a few years working on that actually. So that's kind of a way that it looked for me, and to all the listeners out there, hopefully that lets you see something for you since we're the best reflections of each other. We're mirrors.
And I love it because you touched on what I think might be a very real concern a lot of people have when it comes to being real and being authentic as whatever they know. I mean, there's a process to understand truly what being authentic means. But when somebody hears being authentic, and here you are talking about, you feel like you're kind of a goofball or out there or a weirdo. I don't think so. I thought as soon as I met you, I was like, boom, there's somebody I know I can connect with, right off the bat. You know what I mean? Like 2 peas in a pod. But some other people might be worried, like you were, how can you tap into that but still be taken seriously and just be who you are? And so you're adding value. People see you have value and they're going to utilize your benefits and solutions. But sometimes people keep their guards up because they're worried that, if people knew that their uniqueness, I would never say being a weirdo. I mean, if you look at the geeks, Bill Gates, all these people, right? Back when when I was growing up, they were getting teased and stuff, but now look at them, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? So, So, but now how can you help somebody who might be a little leery on, working on their mindset that like because you overcame it. It took you a while, and even though you're in this space, you still recognize that there was a concern there on how you can tap into and be your genuine, authentic self, and then still, whether you're in corporate or on the stage or wherever you are, be taken seriously. So some people might have a concern on that, and that might prevent them. So do you have like an idea or a process that somebody might be able to utilize to work through that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for me, I've been very fortunate where I have not done any of the things that I do as far as growth alone. Since I started the journey to entrepreneurship, I've always had a one-on-one coach, or I've been a part of a coaching team or a leadership team. And I think, no matter what structure a person chooses, it's really important to be surrounding yourself with people who are going to reflect what's really going on. They're going to reflect the things that you can't see, because we all have blind spots. It's just like driving a car. And so I think first and foremost, getting actual accurate reflections on where you're currently at with all of that, so you know your baseline. And then, we always have to have a vision of what are we stepping into. And, I think a lot of us, we want to change ourselves and transform ourselves so quickly. And we forget that there's really no end destination. There's no there. It's just a practice. Authenticity is a practice. And so I think a lot of us don't set ourselves up to win the game of transformation because we don't work on a gradient that actually supports us. We say, I'm going to go and be authentic in this really big meeting with all of these big players, and that's going to be my first swing at it. No. Let's back up. When we play in safe containers, where can you practice being this way in a place where you're not going to get taken out, a place where you're safe, a place where you trust? So I think it's really about getting that accurate reflection on where are we, getting clear on where we want to go, having someone along the way who's going to let us know what's really happening as we're practicing, and setting it up on a gradient that you can actually keep moving forward in, and not like from 0 to 100 in one step, when we're really good at moving too fast.
I love it. I want to kind of like step off for 1 second, and then I want to come back. On November 7th or so, were you in 24 hours, were you part of a team that raised, generated meals for like 300 homeless people in San Diego and raised over $17,000?
Yes. I'm part of a leadership program. It was about a year and a half since I had been on the team. And I was really clear that my next breakthrough was going to require a team of people. And so that was my third of fourth trips out to San Diego this fall. And, any leadership training I've ever been through, it's our belief that leaders serve. Leaders are here to serve. And so it's very common that you'll get given a service project so that you can see, with a powerful intention, the action, the mechanism, whatever you want to call it, comes together. When you really have a powerful intention, you'll figure out how, you'll make a plan, you'll make a strategy. And so we fed over 300 plus homeless people out in the streets, and we raised over $17,000 for the Underground Railroad, which is a organization that is doing everything in their power to put a stop to sex trafficking for children.
That's huge. And I actually met you at a city summit with Ryan Long and Michelle and some other people, and that's also their mission too. So that's part of their mission. So good for you. But you raised meals for 300 people and over 17,000 to help stop or reduce sex trafficking for children. So good for you. I just saw that on a recent post of yours, and I wanted to mention it so all the listeners could hear too, that it's like you said, it's certainly like the Rotary is service above self, but we get more when we serve more. I found that when I stopped selling several years ago, I stopped selling and I started serving. My conversations switched. The intensity level of how when I was speaking to people was less, and that allowed them to open up more and tell me what they needed, and to make sure that we were a fit. You know what I mean? So I like to tell people I'm not a salesman, I'm a businessman. And if they're in business, they need, an online presence. They need people to be aware of who they are and what they do. Whether or not they choose me is up to them. So, we provide 100% guaranteed results, but the point is that I agree with you 100% about leaders being servers. And when I switched my mindset several years ago, my interactions with like 90%, 95% of my clients switched, and things just got so much better. And it allowed me to actually serve so many more people. So in addition to agreeing with you, I'm super happy that, 300 people got more meals and over 17,000 was raised. So kudos to you.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you said that, and I really want the listeners to get that. When we're serving, it's really truly about the other person, and things just open up. When we're selling, it's typically more about us, and it's just not as powerful when it's about us.
I love it. Now, Jen, we're down to about 7 to 10 minutes tops. We'll go, 35 minutes, 40 minutes or so. But what I want you to do, if possible, is let's pretend we have somebody who, some of our listeners, we're basically at 3 stages. Some of our listeners are actually, they're working for somebody else in the marketing department, and they listen to the show to get tips or ideas or contacts. They'll hear somebody and they'll contact them and utilize their services. Then we have another group of people who are just starting as entrepreneurs or have been entrepreneurs for like a year or so, and they're just starting to see some success, or they're just hitting the wall and they need, some of that encouragement to keep going. Then we have some people who have been in business 3 to 5 years or more, and they've already seen success, and they know, and I love what you said earlier, that what they know is that whatever got them to this point is not going to get them to the next level. So they need to, if they want to up their game, if they want to add more value and service, if they want to serve more people, they have to do something different than they've done that got them to that point. And you mentioned that earlier about that is why you went to this third thing. So I that caught my attention as well. So assuming we have these 3 groups here, can you give us 1 or 2 tips for each group? And it's possible that the tip could be the same for all groups.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're saying that there's very, very new people who are really just getting started, people who've been a couple years, and people who've made it over the 3 to 5 mark. Yeah,
we have roughly 1.7 million reach.
Great.
Yeah, but that doesn't include the internet, and that doesn't include when people hear this on my social media and my YouTube and they're going to hear it on yours too. So we're probably going to be over 2.5 million by the end of the year. So there's all those ranges are in here.
Okay, great. So little advice for each group, and then a tip that would be the same for all 3.
Yep, or if that works for you.
It.
Yep.
Yeah, so I would say with the group that is really kind of in the very infant stages, like maybe you're thinking about entrepreneurship, or you're like just over the hump. What the heck am I doing? This is crazy, all this risk. I think the thing that I would probably say right off the bat is, we are creatures of, we're survival-based creatures. That's our operating system. And when you're in the beginning stages, really be intentional about having the future vision now. Don't wait until you have all the money that you need to hire all the right people, because it might be too late. Get help with your business right off the bat, and, really be intentional about the patterns that you're putting in place, because oftentimes when we're new, we think we have all the space in the world and we can just serve in any way at any time. And then when our practices and businesses get full, it's very challenging to undo that. So just trust that you need to be investing in your business right off the bat, and you don't need to wait for all the money to come in. Take a risk on yourself. That's what entrepreneurship is all about anyway, right?
Yep, I love it. And that's the actual definition of an entrepreneur, the ability to withstand risk. All right, so was that all the tips, or did you want one or two more?
I'm going to give a couple more for the mid-level group.
Excellent.
I would say for mid-level group, that kind of gets to be an interesting spot. Like, we're not new anymore, so sometimes we lose that rush, but we haven't been established for long enough to really have that solid foundation. So I would say, you've probably had a lot of breakthroughs in your transformation, but just be careful that when you move into your new comfortable box, you remember that a box is a box, and you be cognizant about not staying in the new fancy box and you keep breaking through, so that your business actually keeps growing and your business doesn't get stuck in mid-level.
Nice.
And then for the people who are making it to the 3 to 5 years and beyond, where your statistics to stay in business longer are increasing, I would say at that point, we've gotten a lot of stuff mastered. We know what works, we know what doesn't. But inevitably, the winning strategy that created all of that is going to be the thing that gets in the way. And make sure you stay open to the right people and the right services that are going to help you keep reinventing who you need to be so that you make it to the 10-year mark. Because I think that's the next cutoff of statistically entrepreneurs' success rates. So just remember, all that got you there will keep you stuck. So get some support so you can shift into the new person you need to be for what's next.
I love it. And it just to kind of fine-tune that, too, I'd like to add that when they're looking for support, like you mentioned that you have coaches and mentors, I think that when they look for that coach and they look for that mentor, that they seek counsel and not advice. Advice is, somebody who you ask an opinion of. Counsel is somebody who's been there and done that. So make sure that when you're looking for a mentor or you're looking for a coach or you're going to hire somebody to help you scale, get to that next level, get over a bump, that they've actually done it, not just read a book or two or got a certification or something, but they've actually done what you want to do. Not to minimize the, scholastic achievements of anybody, but, there's a big difference from reading a book and having theoretical application to actually doing it, having practical application, and what works and what doesn't actually work.
Absolutely. And I would also say, too, is when you are investing in someone who really knows what they're doing, and they know how to do transformational coaching or whatever it is, they're also going to know how to make reflections and ask questions in such a way that fires up parts of the brain we can't get to on our own. And if we could answer the questions that are unknown to us, wouldn't we want to? Of course, then we are more self-sufficient down the road. So someone who also knows when it might be time to give you some help by way of an answer, but someone who also knows when they can help you unlock that for yourself and become that for yourself. That's where the power really is.
I love it. Now, I just want to let all the listeners know, because we pretty much have to wrap up here, Jenn, that your company's name is The Bold Thing, and you have a Facebook page called The Bold Thing with Jenn Shull, Shull. And basically, if you shift your mindset, you'll transform your world. Change the way you look at things, and things will change, right? So could you give everybody your contact information and maybe a closing thought?
Absolutely. As you mentioned, Ron, that's a way to reach me on Facebook Business. You can also reach me. My contact information is Jenn, Jenn, @theboldthing.com. That's my email. You can also reach me on my telephone number, which is 704-726-8742. And then The Bold Thing is also my Instagram, and my first name and my last name is also my LinkedIn. And I think the thought that I'll leave you with, Ron, since you said shift your mindset, transform your world, we really do have the power to create everything. The reason why we don't really know that is our nervous system governs everything. And the nervous system only knows how to create from the past. So when we really get that tribe and team built to surround us and lift us up and challenge us and all the limiting beliefs and stories that we have, we really do start to see our reality in new ways. And no matter how old we are, we can rewire the brain. You can teach an old dog new tricks. And I just want everyone out there to remember you have the power. And if you're not experiencing that, it doesn't mean that you don't have it. You just have not found the structure. So hang in there and find the structure for you, because you get to have everything that you want in this lifetime.
I love it. Such a positive attitude, but I also believe it. I live the laptop lifestyle, and I've created it, and you've created your destiny, and I think people really need to just believe in themselves a little more and take that leap, because it's definitely possible, and you just got to believe, you just got to do it. You've been listening to Jenn Shull. You're an excellent guest. I highly recommend that people contact you at Jenn, Jenn, at theboldthing.com, as well as the phone number you gave out. I want to let the listeners know that if you are unable to write down any of the tips and methods that were spoken or the contact information of Jenn, this episode, as all episodes, in a couple of days will be archived both on WCAP 980 AM, the radio station's website, under the archive section, and also on my websites, RCS Technology Solutions.com and RCS Online Solutions.com. Next up, we are going to talk about, after the break, organic results disappearing, what to do in the near future of SEO. Remember, no matter what your product and services are, if people can't find you, they can't consider you. And if they can't consider you, they can't hire you, nor can they benefit from you. So you've got to get found. Awareness equals opportunity. You've been listening to Jenn Shull of The Bold Thing on the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ron Couming of both RCS Technology Solutions as well as RCS Online Solutions, where we help business owners achieve even greater success by attracting, converting, and retaining their ideal customers and clients using various internet marketing techniques and methods. Good morning, and welcome back to the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ron Couming of both RCS Online Solutions and RCS Technology Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs, much like you, achieve even greater success by attracting, converting, and retaining their ideal customers and clients. Using various internet marketing techniques and methods. And for the record, I've changed my name. The company's name's been RCS Technology Solutions for quite a while. We used to do a lot of managed services, meaning we helped businesses, 200-300 seats, employees, manage their servers, computers and all that stuff. And, a couple of years ago, we pretty much stopped doing that and subbing the work out to other people and focusing on just the online marketing, which we've been doing for close to 10 years or so now. So we're pretty much only doing online marketing now. So we have, a couple of managed service clients that I just keep to keep busy, but also to stay current, but mostly it's all online marketing. So my company's name changed officially. My LLC is now RCS Online Solutions, but there's just so much information out there with RCS Technology Solutions that I mention it, but pretty soon I'll be stopped mentioning it, and it'll just be Online Solutions. But that's enough about me. Like I said, this show there's two parts to this show. The first part will bring on subject matter experts, and to give you some advice on how they overcame some of their trials and tribulations. And then when we have only one guest, or even if we have two guests, but we have a little bit of time at the end, I'll give you some tips and methods. Today we had a great interview with Jenn Shull earlier from The Bold Thing. I encourage you to go back and listen to that. It's also on WCAP 980 AM's website, as well as RCS Technology Solutions and RCS Online Solutions website. Just go to the media tab and click radio show. But right now I want to talk to you about organic results on your SEO. You're in business, you have a product, a solution, you're providing benefits to other people's problems. You're helping other people provide solutions to other people, right? So it really helps a lot of people what you do, right? So, but in order for people to benefit, to obtain those results that they get from you, the solutions, they have to be able to find you, right? And you can go to so many, you can only go to so many networking events. You can only, post on Facebook, only 5%. If you have 50, if you have 100, if you have 1,000 rather, people on your Facebook, only, and you're not paying Facebook or other, social media platforms, only 4 to 6. So we'll say 5% roughly are going to see it, meaning if you have 1,000, only 50 are going to see it. So, Facebook, other than people who are telling you, who are selling you social media services, unless you're actually paying for social media services, it's pretty much, it's time to reassess what you're doing. The exception to that is if you have like Facebook groups and you're really connecting with people and you have a small base or even a large base, but there's a lot of interactions between you and them. But if your sole on social media strategy is just to post and hope for the best, those days are over unless you're paying the search engines. All right, so what I want to talk to you about now, the search engines, keep in mind 89 cents of every dollar that's spent online is through the search engines, meaning somebody will go to the search engines and they will type in what is, how to, or something specific. On social media, they'll see an ad, they'll see a post, and then they'll buy it, or a friend will tell them about it. But that accounts for 11 cents of every dollar. 89 cents of every dollar is through the search engines. So I suggest that you focus on the search engines, and then you just copy and paste for free and share your stuff on your social media platform. But focus where the money is, right? If people are searching online for things, make sure you're being found. And if your company's name, if you type in your company's name or you type in your name and it comes up, that doesn't count because the people who they know you, they're going to search for you. But for every one person that knows you, there's probably, 5,000 that don't, right? So what you want to do is you want to come up for the services that you provide, the benefits and the solutions that you provide. So if you type in one of your services and you don't come up, then you absolutely need to focus on your search engine optimization. But as with anything, search engine optimization is changing. So in the next 13 minutes or so, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of what's going on and what you might be able to do to counter it or work with it. And remember, as far as Google goes, they're not out there to hurt anybody. When they change the algorithms, it's not to upset the apple cart, it's to reset the apple cart. So you have people like all my clients. I have almost every single one of my clients, if not all of them. I say that just in case one isn't, but are on the first page of the search engines, right? And that's because we use white hat technique. So when these changes come in with Google, my clients don't get bumped. The people who get bumped are the people who are doing, somebody's trying to game the system. And it's not necessarily them. It's either the people they hired who are just, they found a little catch, a little gimmick, and they're using it. And then Google comes along with the algorithm change to reset it. So the people who are just trying to get over and take advantage, they're the ones who get knocked down. But the people who are doing the right thing consistently for over time, they're never, you want the algorithm changes, because the people who are gaming the system and might be gaining an unfair advantage over you are now reset to where they belong. And it's not always people are just trying to game the system. What happens is people just don't know any better. Somebody told them to do this or somebody told them to do that. And at the end of the day, they don't know any better. So what they're doing, thinking it's the right thing, but in reality, it's not. So always stick to white hat techniques, and that's what we do for our clients. So I want to talk to you about thinking about the future of SEO, of online marketing, of how everything works is basically, I do that all the time, because if you don't innovate and make your own products and services obsolete, somebody else will. A great example of that would be Uber and Lyft to taxis, Netflix to Blockbuster, and Airbnb to hotels, right? So, and there's many more examples where somebody found a better way to do something that's already been in existence and accepting, but they found a better, more convenient way to do it, right? So SEO, online marketing is changing, but it always has been, just like every other industry. So I want to talk to you about one great example is AI, which is artificial intelligence. And you'll hear things like when people are Alexa, or they're on their cell phones and they're just talking into their phone, the best pizza parlor in Boston, or whatever the case may be that they're looking for. So you want to be aware of that, and you want to understand that that's happening. So if you're still doing, online marketing or SEO techniques that worked 6 months ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, you can expect to be left in the dust, because the world changes and you've got to keep up with it, right? So I spend probably 6 to 8 hours, if not 10 hours a week, just staying up to date with the cutting edge stuff. And I've already been involved in this field for for a long time. And so I want to let you know that AI, and we've just begun to see the impact of artificial intelligence on marketing and the world. AI is ramping up with businesses in general, but surveys very widely on how many organizations have already implemented it. Some are saying 61% and some are saying 5%. I can't believe 61%. So, that's how many people were surveyed. So maybe they surveyed, 20 people and 12 are, but I don't know who. Maybe it was technology companies, right? But I can't imagine that, but it is absolutely coming. AI is making an impact on search much faster than probably anything else. But, I had somebody ask me in the process of determining whether or not they were going to hire us, they asked me about this and AI and what you would do, because if you're not on that first spot, or, the first one or two spots, and when somebody's saying the best pizza in Boston, they're going to come up and they're going to announce the name, right? So he asked me, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, you already know the answer. And he says, no, I don't know the answer. That's why I asked you. I says, if somebody talks into Alexa or Google Assistant or whatever and asks for a result, and that first result or second result comes up, and that's where you need to be, then tell me what the solution is. He says, I don't know. I said, the solution is you need to be that first or second result, right? He said, yeah. I said, so it's really not that difficult. Now, how you get there is a different story, right? So you know what the solution is, so you map it out. You start at the end. Where do you want to be? And then you figure out how you're going to get there, right? So that's a big thing that's coming is AI, and it's already here. But remember, Google's job, and I'm going to mention Google, but it's all the search engines. YouTube is the second largest search engine. It's owned by Google. So, together, if you're doing what's right on Google, then, you're really covering 89, 88, or 87% of all searches done on all platforms, right? So what's good for the user? Make sure that the content that you're providing is good for the users. Make sure you have a lot of backlinks. That's huge. We have a backlinking service if that's something you're interested in, but make sure you have a lot of quality backlinks. Backlinks still matter, but just make sure that they're not spammy or junk backlinks. So what's good for the user is super important, and what's good for Google. Because what's good for the user is good for Google, right? Google is not concerned with the company's who are on Facebook or on Google unless you're paying them, right? And they're only concerned on where your results are. What they're really concerned with is providing a great user experience for their users. So make sure, the best thing you can do is making sure that you have good quality content, but make sure your content, you structure it for the user, not necessarily the search engines. But make sure you structure it in such a way that it's solving a problem, it's talking about the benefits. Don't just come out and say, this is who we are and this is what we do, because I'm telling you, nobody cares. Let's be honest here, okay? I'm not going to hold your hand. Nobody cares about who you are and nobody cares about what you do as a business. As human beings, we're all invaluable. But in business, nobody really cares. What they care about is what's in it for me. So when somebody is looking at a business owner, the services that they provide, they're looking at, will it solve my problem? How's it going to help me? What's it going to cost me? What's the ROI? So they're looking at what's in it for me. So make sure when you're framing your content, framing the content on your website, framing the content in your blogs, your articles, your ads, that you're answering the question, what's in it for the client. So the future of SEO, if you want to know really about the future of SEO, and I'm going to do a whole webinar on this because I could really go for hours, and unfortunately I have 6 more minutes for this particular episode. But if you want to know the future of SEO, just follow the money, right? When I try to anticipate where SEO is going, the most important question is, how will Google make money? If you look at how Google will make money, then you will see, where you need to go. If you remember, when we saw Google move ads out of the sidebar, that was in February or so of 2016. Then Bing followed suit in roughly March of 2018. Organic listings felt the pinch as the space on the top of the SERP, and that's the search engine results page, opened up to allow up to 4 paid ads. So remember now, when you go to Google's page, right, you click on somebody's searching for something, up to the first 4 now will be ads. So you want to be above that fold, right? So which means that when you're on the screen, when somebody gets there, they don't have to scroll down. A little known fact here is that 72% of the people, roughly, these are statistics that I've gotten offline, so no need to sue me. It's what I've read. 72%. I'm talking to like Google and all them, right? If I'm off by a percentage or 2, so 72% of people won't even click on the ads. So only 28%, whether you're that first ad or the 4th ad, only 28% rather are going to actually click on the ad, and the rest are going to scroll past, because vast majority of people believe that people who pay to be there, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they are the best, whereas the people who are organically 1, 2, 3, and through 10, they got there through time, effort, techniques in providing that user experience. So a lot of people that I've spoken to will skip right past the ads and go right to the organic results, and then talk to the first 3 people of the organic results. So you not only want to be on that first page, you also want to be in the top 3 results. And they get 67% of all the action on the page, and the rest of the page in its entirety splits 37%. So you really want to be on that first page, but you want to be in the top 3% of the first page, the top 3 spots rather. But anyhow, so that's that. Follow the money. Watch what Google's doing. Watch how Google is doing, and then just follow. You want to make sure that the local listings, that your local pack is complete with map, entering the SERP picture. It will give local businesses a chance to show up organically on page 1 when the searcher is physically nearby. So if somebody's searching for something, the local pack will pop up and it will give. I have a guy who just recently hired us, a person out in Seattle. He doesn't even come up in Seattle for his, if we type in his company's name, of course he comes up, but his products, his services, he doesn't come up at all, nor does he come up in the local pack there. So we'll be taking care of that for him in less than a month. That will all be taken care of. So make sure your local listings is up to date. But video, the single biggest thing that I want to talk to you about is video. And I don't have a lot of time to go into this, but video. Everybody, Facebook, search, Google, YouTube, everybody. Within like another year or two, 2020, 2021, when you type in a search, 70% of every result that's going to come up in the next year or so will be coming up via video. No more blogs or all that. You're going to get a video response. Now, there's a whole strategy behind that, and I'll give an entire section on that alone, how to SEO videos and how to repurpose content and all that. But for today, I want to let you know that organic SEO is in fact changing. You've got to follow the money, stay on top of it. Contact me at Ron, R-O-N, at RCS Online Solutions, and we can take care of it for you. But you've been listening to the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions with Ron Couming of both RCS Online Solutions and RCS Technology Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs achieve even greater success by attracting, converting, and retaining their ideal customers and clients using various Internet marketing techniques and methods.